Welcome to your Monday. I'm Jay Cleveland Payne, a.k.a. your Mr. Monday, and it's a quick bit of motivation and inspiration, which was originally published on January the 17th, 2022. The original message goes as follows. The irony of bad reviews is that they have nothing to do with your actual performance. The issues have more to do with the reviewer's lack of confidence than your own lack of talent. Now, going deeper into this message, I want you to make sure that you understand that you may have lack of talent and you may get a bad review from someone or something. The point around this was more along the lines of like Amazon type reviews or talent type reviews, things like that, not your performance at work, because that's a slightly different effort. We'll talk about that in a moment. But the real sad thing about a bad review or a terrible review you get, something that just basically just tells you that you have no talent, you have no reason of being, is it's not so much about your talent or lack thereof. Maybe you don't have great talent. What you have done is you've put yourself out in the arena and you created something for people to take in, to hopefully enjoy, and sometimes not enjoy. And remember, everyone can't enjoy everything you put out there, even if they enjoy most of what you do. And everyone's not going to enjoy everything you put out there because some people just don't like you, period. That's where this reviewer thing comes into play. A lot of times, if you go to a place like Amazon.com and you'll see a book that's like an independent book, or sometimes just a well-known published book that people may have a kind of issue with the author, you'll see a flood of reviews. The reviews tend to come towards the middle, but there's usually a whole bunch of good and a whole bunch of bad that average themselves out, and the bad reviews usually follow along the same sort of lines. And they're not necessarily based on what was wrong with the book, what was wrong with the story, what didn't work out with the actual piece of music, and the actual, maybe it was an actual piece of equipment, how it worked, how it didn't work. A lot of it is things that have nothing to do with the main point. They don't like the author. The author all of a sudden said something that was controversial, and the person that used to like them now just hates that person because of that. And so now they're giving bad reviews to all their stuff. A piece of equipment may work functionally fine for exactly what it's told to do, but it doesn't do one little thing, and that makes somebody upset, even though it states plainly it doesn't do that thing. Or it's the economy version, and somebody thought that, well, maybe it should do the extraordinary super deluxe version stuff, and it doesn't. And so they rate down the economy version for doing exactly what it's supposed to do. The very basic cheap stuff, not for doing something super great and awesome. The problem with those bad reviews is it's usually people's issues with themselves or their issues with them doing something like you're doing than it is what you haven't done well. And like I said, maybe your efforts aren't the greatest. I have written 8 books. I've published 8 books, and none of those books are great books. But what they are actual efforts to put out content and publish books. So for most cases, when I talk to people about being an author and doing the things I've done, I get praise and accolades for getting it done. And then for some people who go looking in the book for critical reviews, they see some issues with the books, and that's fine. But then there's some people who, just don't know how to put forth the effort to put down pages. Essentially, when I published my first book, the whole point was the Amazon Kindle program will publish your book if it has 60 pages. I need to find 60 pages and make it a book. Bam. I had a book. Most people don't go that far. You don't even have to have pages with words on them. People are printing blank page books and notebooks and journals. And some people, if you believe what they say on the internet, are making big money off of those open page books. Now, let's talk about performance reviews for jobs for just a second, because those bad reviews probably have more to do with how well you're working, unless you have issues with your supervisor and people going that route. Now, in those cases, you need to really be aware of what it is you're doing and make sure that you're getting a fair review. These are things that can become legal issues, if you will. And I am not a lawyer. I thought about going to law school, but did not. So do not hold that knowledge towards me. But think about on that end. If you get a bad review from a person who is giving you a personal review or something of your job, something of the labor you're actually doing for a job, not necessarily something creative, but you work at a plant and you operate a machine and someone says you don't operate a machine very well, or you work in an office and you handle paperwork and you don't handle paperwork very well, so says this report. First, make sure it's actually actively something that's really an issue. Do you really not do such a great job at these things? Because if that's the case, this is your warning to get better at it. Now, if they're just all lies in your window, just stuff made up to get you in trouble so they can get you fired, that's a total different issue on its own. You may have a personality issue with some personnel that causes you to get bad reviews or worse reviews than you should. That's a discussion you need to have with that person, if you're up to it, or with an HR level person above them, because that's how that works out. And remember, in terms of HR, HR's job is not to take care of you, it's to take care of the company. So whomever is in the actual wrong and whomever will cause the biggest stink about being in the wrong will probably get the accolades as opposed to a straight up, this person is being mean to me type thing. So remember that. However, remember the difference between a performance review and what's going on there and things like a creativity review and what's going on there. You put forth the effort to do something out of the ordinary no one asked you to do, and people are jumping on it because they don't have the cojones to do it themselves and make themselves vulnerable. That's what I'm talking about here. Take it in stride. Take the good of the review, the points that really do make a difference that you can change and fix later, but don't take it so hard. Most people out there who are criticizing you are people who did not have the gall to try it themselves. And so they're bringing other people down to make themselves feel better. Don't let it work. The irony of bad reviews is they have nothing to do with your actual performance. The issues have more to do with the reviewer's lack of confidence than your own lack of talent. This original message was published on January the 17th, 2022 from Welcome to Your Monday. For more messages like this one, plus books, merchandise, and other information related to this project, visit the website, welcomeToYourMonday.com.